All right. Day 4, right? So we have learned a few things so far. Before jumping into volumes, let's do a very quick recap. Hey, Ion. All right. Very quick
Hi.
one. Oh, yeah. I was just saying, day 4, and let's do a very quick recap before going deeper into volumes. So far, today is team A, right? So far, the first thing, most important thing when we come onto when we sit down on our desk, in front of our desk, what's the most important thing we are looking for? Maya. Maya, I think you're on. I'm not sure if Maya, you're there. Jay, first thing we're looking for,
Levels.
right? Okay, that's most important thing because a level is the area where we need a reaction from, and that level is defined by having what, Eon? How do we get a level?
The last guy who was trapped.
Yeah. All right. So trap. So we only have a level if there's a trap. A trap is when a trap is formed, we know there's gonna be a release somewhere. Okay, we just need to know where that could be. So when we sit down, we're only looking for a level. We get a level by having a trap. We have a trap, and then this is where exactly we know a release can happen. Okay? Where? This on its own, could be a trading strategy on itself. Just doing the same thing and then looking at the probabilities and then looking at the risk reward. It could be a trading strategy on its own already, but we have to add a few more things just to make it a little bit more solid. All right. So this right here basically is where we get in how the trade would perform, to increase the probability of the trade working with more higher potential. Then we have to piece it together with the overall story. Okay, so far, all right, just so far, the only thing that I've mentioned is generally following the bigger trend would work much better instead of counter trending a huge uptrend or counter trending a huge downtrend. Okay, but we're gonna get into more of the story part on Monday next week or perhaps on Tuesday. That's where I'm gonna talk about how in a trend we may have this kind of move, that kind of move. How do we know which move are we in to resume the uptrend? Stuff like that. Okay. So for now, we can just have this at the back of your head, but for now, just remember, if we're following a trend, the trap works much better. Okay. So once we have the level, figure out the story. Besides the story, I think the most important part is knowing what the volume is showing us. Okay, so today we're gonna go a little bit more into volume for today and tomorrow, and then we're gonna do a lot of practice on this, layering volume onto traps, and then next week, we'll be layering volume onto the whole story, that kind of thing. All right. Yeah, that's a very short recap, but that's pretty much it. All right, so let's begin with the most basic way of looking at volume. In an uptrend, let's say here, All right. Let's say we have high volume here. All right. If that's the case, Williams, is this showing us that the uptrend is in danger just based on this few swings here? Is this telling us that uptrend is in danger?
Not really.
Not really, right? For the most part, because it's still in an uptrend, this thing could still go up.
Yes.
Right? So let's say, change the scenario up a little bit. Let's say this is the average volume, all this high. Right? As we make a few more swings towards the upside, then the volume starts to steadily increase. Okay? At this point, technical analysis is telling us it's still in an overall uptrend. Is it too early to say this uptrend is going to die, Williams?
No.
Still no, right? As far as we are concerned, it could still continue going towards the upside. The only thing when we see this kind of volume here is to ask ourselves the question, who is not cashing out, not selling, but who is buying up there? All right. So I know from yesterday, some of you guys you use a lot of words like cashing out, perhaps sellers are kicking in. For now, to keep it a little bit more simplistic, try not using those terms. Just assume that someone is buying here. Just because we are in an uptrend, we have high volume. The simplistic way of thinking about it is someone is loading up to keep buying. Okay, but once we have asked this question, who is buying up there, let it do what it has to do. If it fails, right, then we know, okay, this uptrend, where's the overall volume at? It's at the end, right? We only know if it's at the end when we have this kind of situation going on, right? A kill, a trap, potential release. So once we have this setup, volume indicating that someone's buying up there, and then those buyers got trapped, this release would be a very, very strong release. Now, let's remove this. The other thing that I want to point out is when we see high volume like that, it's normal, and I think I do this quite frequently as well. Let's say if this is the 60-minute time frame, right? When you see high volume like that, it's normal for us to just look towards the left and see if it's coming from a huge, much bigger release zone, like a huge release zone on the left. Okay, so this ties in with the story of here, not too many people think it's a buy. Here, maybe a few guys think it's a buy. Here, more. Here, everyone is piling in to keep buying. That's why high volume is coming in at an area where they could be in danger. So once we have this is going to be strong. Okay, very simple so far. Everyone have any question on this one? Team B? Yep, Beyond, go ahead.
Yeah, you said that. Let's put my own notation. Yes, we have the volume on the last swing up.
Yep.
Okay. So you said we have volume here. Okay, and the trade could be from here. We don't know about the volume, let's say here. And the trade could be from here, but we have this volume in front of us.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, well, I'm going to get into that later on.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, that's good. All right. Yesterday, the other thing I was saying is always have volume behind us. All right. So here,
Right.
we're selling it up here. Your question is, if I'm selling it here, this is where the volume is, right? Volume is sort of ahead of me, right? Which is not healthy. So yeah, it's a good question. We're going to get into that later on. So just to piggyback on that topic, we always want to have volume behind us, because volume, you guys want to start thinking of it as a wall. All right, like a release area, the release area would be much more stronger if there's volume. Okay, so it's sort of like making it, release area is like a wall made of wood. Release area with volume is a wall made of concrete. Okay, that's a very bad analogy. Sorry about that. But the point is, have volume behind us because those areas are gonna hold price. All right. Okay, so let's go over some chart example for now to quickly talk about this scenario. When we see an uptrend where the volume is, and when there's high volume, is there anything on the left that could be indicating that it's looking for a release? So to explain this better, I need to go on the charts. I also see, Casey, you have a question from a practice from yesterday. We can go over it later as well.
Thank you.
All right. So, okay, here's something. The overall view, volume analysis, how we usually do it in the prop firm, it's something like this. Okay, let's say we are right around here. Okay, now it's important to understand how to look at overall view and the detailed view. All right, so regardless of what time frame this is, when we are looking at a trend, so when we're looking at this trend here, how we usually do it is put our cursor on the highest volume area. So in this case, it's this bar right here, right around here. And then I'll generally mark where the high volume is. In this case, it's a red bar. I'll mark it pretty much at the highs around this kind of zone. Okay, so let's pretend we are right here and seeing price goes all the way towards the upside from here to here. All right, at this point, I would think, I'm not sure how strong the trend is because high volume is at the top, but I cannot ignore the fact that maybe we're coming into an uptrend. Let's pretend this is like that. Okay, we're in an uptrend. It could still continue going up. Okay, so going higher. Is there a really high volume? In this case, I wouldn't really say so. Okay, I'm looking for volume that's higher than usual. All right, so still going up. Here, now because it was relatively low from before, here it got a little bit higher around this zone here. So what we want to do is just to mark out the area where the high volume came in. So around areas like this. So at this particular stage, okay, let me just clean up my charts. We have high volume here and high volume around here. All right. So like the question I asked everyone earlier, Ian, I'll come back to your question in a bit. Like the question I was asking everyone, in an uptrend, if we have high volume here at this particular stage, it's not looking that good for an uptrend, right? But it is still in an uptrend. The question we have to ask is who's buying up there? If those guys are trapped, you know, we could have a strong release towards the downside. But they're not trapped, continue to go towards the upside, continue going towards the upside, high volume again at the top. All right, so let me ask you guys this from here to here, without looking at the strength, the momentum, just based on volume itself. Eric, how strong or how healthy you think this uptrend is based on where the volume is?
It's not very healthy, I'd say, because we now have a volume at the top, at the end of the trend. Yeah, and not so much at the beginning. We have a little bit. If we have some volume down there, if that volume is stronger, and then I would say that's healthier. Now it's a little bit here and also a little bit there. I wouldn't say it's very healthy.
But is it weak?
Not really, because arguably that volume is still, if we are saying that whole trend at about 50%, it's still lower than 50%. I wouldn't say it's weak. It's not weak either.
Yeah.
It has got some momentum still.
All right. So more of a 50-50 thing, right?
Yeah.
Because we do have
Yeah.
high volume here at the top. At this point, we wouldn't know it's the top yet, but here high volume, but we also have high volume around here.
Yeah. Yeah,
right.
that's true. Yeah.
All right. So if that's the case, we track forward and see how this uptrend continues to go up. Here, still no higher highs, still high volume coming in. Then keep asking the question. We do not have any higher highs anymore, but who is still trying to buy up there? As far as we are concerned, this thing could still blast towards the upside, but just stand aside and ask who's still buying up there. Here, still no higher highs, still overall in this overall upflow. Who's buying up there? Then here, maybe we can come to a more solid understanding that perhaps from here to here, most of the high volume is at the top so far. So far it's at the top here.
Yes.
Then, all right, then we start to, be a little bit more biased towards saying, I don't think this uptrend is healthy anymore. It's, in danger. It's under threat. That's what we usually call it. This whole uptrend. Right? So, the reason why this is important is because let's say we have super high volume here, and let's say we continue to do some sort of refresh kind of thing. We're gonna get into refresh, but basically what I'm trying to say is, if we have some kind of a trap form to resume the buy here, we have to ask ourselves, this buy is joining the overall uptrend, which is from, let's say, from here to here, okay? This particular buy here. We want to know if this buy is healthy or not. Is it safe for me to do a buy? So how would I know if the buy is safe? Is to know if the uptrend is healthy or not. So if all the high volume are mostly at the top, then this release has a very low chance of traveling or pushing strong. For the most part, you could just do this. Right, so this piece we learned Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. To know how good it could perform, we want to see if the overall trend is healthy or not. And to know the overall trend is healthy or not, just mark out where the high volume is, here, here, and then most cluster are coming in here. All right, does that make sense? That's, again, I always want to point out the reason why we're doing what we're doing. So that's the reason why we do this. Okay, makes sense?
Yep. Yeah.
All right. So that's the overall view. Okay, it's overall view. Detailed view is looking at the last swing, basically. Overall view is looking at the entire uptrend. The detailed view is looking at the last swing. So in this case, the last swing is sort of from here towards here, right? Or just one buyer kicking in. So detail view, looking at one swing, same thing. We want to identify from this high, this low to this high. Just this one swing alone, where are the high volumes coming in? Is the high volume at the bottom or at the top? In this case, we also have the same thing. Most of the high volume is at the top. So this last swing is in danger. It's under threat. At the same time, because this high volume is so high, much higher than the buyer's volume before, this entire overall trend is also under threat, which makes this something that we do not want to buy at all. Potentially waiting for a sell would be a better option. Okay, so overall, entire swing, detailed final swing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Yep, Ion, question you had?
Yes, I have the question when marking the volume on the top, on the bottom, top and bottom of the trend. Where do you put it on the candle, up or down? What depends on the trend?
Generally speaking, if if I see the high volume here, I'll just put a circle here like that. That's my high volume. You can do it in whatever style you want, but I wouldn't pick the high or the low. It's an area. It's a general area. So let's say here is this red bar. So it's just this red bar here, and then here,
Okay.
yeah.
So do you include also the tails and the whole candle, or only the body of it?
You see how you do it next week, but you just for now, just look at the overall area.
Okay.
Yeah, the overall area.
Maybe it's a dissection next or something like this.
Something
of the
like
volume. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if you do it like that, that would be much more simpler without the line. Okay. Most high volume peaks at the top, which is not good for the uptrend. So who's buying up there? Who's buying up there? I don't know who's buying up there, but if they are trapped here, maybe here. Okay, it's very easy for me to say right now because obviously there's hindsight bias, but same thing here, high volume here, right? When we resolve down like that, although we do not have a guy who started being killed, trades like this could still work. Okay, the only time when we can take a trade without killing the guy who started is when we have high volume, like that, break that entire area, give us a retest towards some kind of a SNR area, and then try to hit the sell. Now, the other thing that we always have to be aware of is if we take the sell here, okay, let's switch the question a little bit. High volume, high volume, high volume, high volume. Here, no volume, right? So this sell would have higher chance of working out to take this guy out. If there's high volume here, I say like that. Maya, do you think this sell would be safe?
I'll say yes.
Yes.
Yes, I'll say yes.
You say yes. But there's high volume though. Why would you say it's a yes?
Oh, but there isn't. Okay, the ones you draw, yeah.
Yeah.
If there's high volume, then it's no. But
Yeah.
as it was, because I was thinking there's high volume at the top, So your cells will be fine.
Okay.
If I can just draw, I didn't pay attention when you were drawing your up one strong.
Okay. So if there's high volume, then it would be more or less a no, because
Yes.
remember yesterday I was saying something about if we are just using volume and not looking at candlestick analysis, volume just means someone's there, and if someone's there, someone's up here. What's it called around this zone? Money spot, right? So these are the areas that could cause money spot if there's high volume here.
Okay, makes sense.
All right, cool. So let's do a few practice round together, looking at the overall view and detailed view.
Can I ask one question, please?
Yep, go ahead.
So as this cell comes down, if we get high volume right here, would this be our level?
That's a good question. Okay, so then what you need to do is look at this like that. We're gonna get into that later on, but that would more be something where we're looking at the fives. But for now, if you're looking at this, okay, your whole analysis is this range, this huge range got broken towards the downside, right? You know there's volume. You know there could be some kind of release. All right. So our analysis is 60-minute is our big boy. So on our big boy time frame, this becomes your overall volume view. So this is overall, because there's no hold or stop in between, it's just one swing. So it's just one push down. So this thing is your overall view. Then you want to see this last swing, where the overall volume is. Is the volume more leaning towards the top or towards the bottom? Yeah. So if it's too high at the bottom, around here, it's going to be risky, because high volume here, yes, you do have high volume here, but what's this high volume down here doing? So this piece, might do this or just reject back up, forming a probe.
Right. Yeah. But if we don't have a high volume here, like in the previous example, we do have a high volume here somewhere, and then because this level is there and that level is there, we still have some room. Is it still okay to enter there? Because just now, Lucas, you said we could have a money spot in here, but we have enough room here. Could we trust the price still will be traveling from that point to that point?
If there's no high volume here, yeah, then it's fine. At least you can try to get in here and here. That would more or less be more
Right.
like 1 hour for sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. If I switch things around here a little bit, let's say if there's super high volume here. All right, let's say there's super high volume here, and we push down.
Yeah.
We came right to that level, and then we react. That's something else. Then here, you want to think, this buy that came back up might just be an area where high volume from before, or, because this guy got killed, right? It might be a release for them to push up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here, then you got to think, okay, are we coming into a money spot area? I'm not sure if this cell will do this and then like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about if the pullback comes in and we get high volume at the top to challenge it? Would you take that or no?
To challenge who?
This buyer that pushed up.
So there's high volume here and then high volume here.
Yeah.
All right. Then, okay, that's more towards what we're gonna do next week. But for now, let's do this. Okay. So overall bias is for us to take a sell, right?
Yeah.
So let's do this like that. Okay. Up towards this point here, all right, from the bottom. Jay, try and read the overall volume from bottom towards the end of the pullback, and then the detailed volume.
Right, so as this sell came down, we had high volume right at the bottom.
All right, let me mark that out
Then-
for you. So you always need to have it marked out. Okay, so, all right.
So I would say this is a area, and then the buys go up. We have a little bit of volume. I wouldn't say it's that much of a concern.
No, not really.
Yeah. So the buyers keep going up. It just ranges in this area, goes up again, and then we have some volume here. So it's like towards the middle of the move so far.
Okay, all right. So we have high volume here again, and then this volume, in the end, it resolves up, right? Then
Yeah.
high volume here, right? Okay. So at this stage, what would you conclude about this 5-minute uptrend? Is it healthy?
I would say, yeah, it's healthy. It's mostly towards the bottom.
Yeah, it's pretty healthy, right? So that's fine. Overall trend is looking pretty healthy. Now, what about the detailed view?
I would say it's healthy as well.
Yeah, it's good as well, right? The
Towards the
uptrend is still
bottom in the
pretty,
middle.
yeah, pretty strong. It's not like high volume is coming up there. Most of these are high volume, and then it ends up resolving towards the upside. So in cases like this sell here would be much more tricky to sell, especially when high volume are mostly at the bottom. But keep this example in mind. We're going to come back to it later on, where it could be possible for us to take a sell. All right. So that's generally how our trading strategy is. Right. I'm not gonna go too much into this, but the overall idea is on the 60-minute identify the overall view of volume. All right, 60-minute forming a release zone for us. In this case, we do not have a kill, but we do have a huge range. So it's still a valid level for us to take a trade. So 60-minute, our concern is, do we have a level? How does the volume look on the 60-minute? Because 60-minute, we are just looking at the trend, following the trend. So is the volume telling me that the trend is healthy to take? So far in this case, yes. Right? Then the next thing we gotta do is look at this pullback on our 5, do the same thing over again, look at the overall volume, detail volume, that kind of stuff. And then join the cells. That's the whole idea, but we're gonna do more of that going forward. Yeah, does that make sense for you, Jay? How you want to evaluate the pullback, the trend basically of the pullback?
Yeah, so even though we have a nice level on the 60, based on the pullback volume, you wouldn't take the sell because the volume in the pullback, right?
Yeah, there could be a way to take this, but just based on this alone and with what we have learned so far, no, it's a bit tricky or
Alright, that
risky.
makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Okay. let's look at this here. All right. From around here towards the bottom. Maya, why don't you try and read the overall volume of this downtrend and the detailed volume of the downtrend?
Sure. Meditation thing. Okay, my God. At the top where you are now, so we can see the volume for this guy is high, so that's good.
Yep, good.
At the bottom, so at the bottom it's low, so it's still healthy for this push.
Mm-hmm.
For this one, started up there.
Mm-hmm.
It's high, but it's not that high, which is also fine. But yeah, at the bottom it's quite a bit high.
Okay.
So also it's a bit, the trend is almost done then.
So here's a little thing. If I have high volume, if the bar is so big, right, I'll tend to mark the high volume based on what bar is it. So if this is a seller bar, I'll mark it from the top.
From this way.
Yeah. So like a little bit like that.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So still okay-ish, I guess. Still a little bit healthy.
Yeah, it's not abnormally high, so it's still healthy. So I think in this last push from here, volumes was actually up here. So it's still pushing down, it's fine. So at the end, yeah, there's no volume. So I think it's still healthy, so we can still take this. If we do get an entry here, I think it will still be fine based on these readings here.
Okay. So based on the overall view of the volume, it doesn't really tell us much because we have volume along the way. Yeah, each step along the way, here, and here, right? So overall view doesn't tell us much. What about the detailed view? Is it telling you it's healthy, normal, or unhealthy? Yeah, Maya?
No, I'm having a look. I'm thinking.
Oh, okay.
Push up to here.
Before there. Just
Start down here.
Yeah.
Okay, down there, it's low.
Yep, that's low.
Yeah. And it's a bit higher up there, but it's not cumbersome high. And then this push, high volume, which is good for the up.
Just here to here. That's the detail. That's the last swing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So for the last swing, the highest volume is here.
Yep.
Which means
again, like 50-50, right? Because we cannot really say it's strong because there's no high volume at the top. We cannot really say it's weak because there's high volume at the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah. So overall view doesn't tell us much. Detailed view doesn't tell us much. All right. Now, if we track forward, okay, here who's selling, that's fine. Maybe that's big boy. Here everyone knows it's a sell now. So this high volume push down is absolutely normal. Here people are still selling. Then you want to continue asking the question around here. Because we're still in a downtrend, just ask who is still selling down there when it's, sort of failing to make lower lows. Then here it becomes a concern for this detailed view. It's only at this spot here. Does that make sense?
In a way, yeah, still a bit confused.
No worries. We're going to do more practice around this. So recap here. Overall, okay, because we have high volume here, high volume here, high volume here. All this is telling us this downtrend, it's still normal. It's not healthy, it's not unhealthy, it's just normal. We cannot conclude that this downtrend is in danger unless all the high volume is here. Right? But and then that's the overall view. The detailed view is where you look at the last swing. Okay, why do we usually want to look at the last swing? Because generally we are looking for a trend pullback, right? A trend pullback, and if the last swing is telling us that the downtrend is dying, then this makes more sense for us to do a buy. That's why the detailed view is important. Okay, so this detailed view is not really telling us much as well. The high volume is pretty much in the middle. So both overall view and detailed view is not indicating much for us at this stage. All right, and then you track the story towards the right. As you see, no more lower lows are forming, but yet we still have high volume. Then this last swing is in danger. Right? And then it's at this spot here when we sort of resolve up where it would be logical to think, without looking at this, that a release could happen. Does that make sense?
Yes. So I'm trying to understand this. So as the story develop along that area, so basically we are monitoring both the overall health and also the last bit, that health as well, because we now have volume around those areas. That makes this overall story. We also have higher volume towards the bottom, and then with the detail view, we also have volume towards the end. Therefore, makes that buy safer.
Something like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So you keep track of the story and then see, okay, now there's two high volume peaks at the bottom without making lower lows. So who's selling down there?
Yeah, I also have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can we anticipate the last leg, which the last swing, that it is the detail? Where do we know it's the last swing?
No, we wouldn't know until we see something like, I don't know, something like this or here.
So we need some confirmation or something like this.
Yeah, we need price action to tell us.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Maya, does that make a little bit more sense for how you look at overall and detail?
Yes, it does. Thanks, Lucas.
Okay.
With that last swing means that there's no lower low anymore, right?
Here, no lower lows.
And that's what it was asking.
Yeah. Okay. So we know this is sort of in a two-sided market, right? We have some kind of an uptrend from way before. At the same time, we also have a huge range that's pretty much visible on the daily or sorts. So it is in a two-sided market. So let's do another round for this piece from the bottom towards the top. Who wants to try? Eric, do you want to go for this one?
Yeah, sure. Now, at the bottom, we don't really see high volume over there. So there's no volume from the bottom. And then when the price goes a bit higher, and then we saw some, let me get my notation. We saw some volume there, higher than normal, but in the overall picture, it's not really that high. So I would say, that's not really, I would keep that in mind, but not significant enough. And then goes higher, a little bit to pullback. Then now we see higher volume over there. So I would mark that area. Yes, I would mark that area. And now the price goes up, and then a little range. That range, I don't see huge volume over there. And then we have volume over there. Now price goes higher, we have volume at the top. So at this stage, we have volume all along the way, but there's no volume at the bottom. That's a little bit concerning, but we have those two. It looks like still the trend is still going at this moment in time. I wouldn't say it's dying.
Okay. So the trend, yes, because there's still high volume here. The other thing you can try and do is, because the low sort of stopped around this vicinity, right? So you can also just try and mark this here. So overall, high volume at the bottom, high volume at the top. So for us to do a buy, that wouldn't be safe for us to try to look for a release around here. All right. So yeah, we're gonna get into why that's the case. But obviously now you guys have an idea of because there's volume ahead of us, we don't want to challenge those volume.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Because at that point we are not quite sure. Is this people selling or if there's people selling, then obviously if we buy from here, we don't want to. When it gets closer to those sellers, we want to get out.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. The other thing is with the traps and release we have learned so far.
Right.
Okay. This is your guy who started, right? Your 60-minute time frame.
Yeah.
This push towards the upside, and then we are basically fading a pullback to buy.
Yeah.
Right, based on releases.
Right.
So if that's the case, all right, this swing, where is the highest volume at? It's not at the bottom. It's not in the middle.
It's at the top.
It's at the top.
Yeah.
So this makes the buy very, very, very questionable.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So another question that I think I was going to ask that at the bottom. So often we see at the bottom, if we just look at those small areas, we don't see the volume. Like in this case, we also we have volume like before. So Lucas, after your explanation, I think in this case we can still count that volume as the overall trend. That volume still accounts towards to that guy. Basically, this whole, I'm looking at the whole thing as a bottom volume.
Yeah. This whole, if you're looking at the overall thing, this whole thing at this point still looks okay. But because we are trading only this piece.
That's right.
So this piece alone needs to be really important as well.
That's right. Yeah. The overall story, it's okay, but the last swing, it's in trouble. Basically, we have too much volume at the top.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Because the last swing in this case, all right, we're gonna go over multiple scenarios. Because the last swing is where our breach happened, where we have our 60-minute trend and our pullback for us to do the buy. Hence, this last swing holds a lot of value as compared to thinking that the
Right.
volume below us could still work. It could, but there's a lot of danger here trying to buy this.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, can we look this part as just being like a faker, but make it probably like a range, so we can still consider this one as still the high at the bottom, and this one also is always high, but with this one, the volume is low.
Okay. And that means the volume at the bottom is stronger.
Yeah, and this one is low.
Okay. Yep. If you're looking at it that way, then it's fine to consider that, okay, I have super high volume mostly at the bottom. All right, of let's say this trend that's coming down. This is where things get a little bit more discretionary because you also need to see when we get a pullback on the 5, the highest volume is at the top. So that's where it gets messy. It's best when we have volume where it's just showing us a very clear direction, sort of like on the 60-minute view, sort of like this piece here.
Right. Yeah, because then if we are looking at this whole thing as a whole, when that pullback came in, we need to gauge how it's going to come down, if it's going to reacting from there or it's going to reacting from there, because we got a huge zone here now, if we look at this as a whole.
Yeah. The reason why this is a little bit trickier is because here people think it's a buy because of the volume, the resolution towards the upside, blah, 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 blah. At the same time, we also have a huge area at the top here where this could be the last attempt just based on technical analysis where buyers tried and failed, right? Because we're still overall in this guy's territory. All right, before he got killed, this was the last attempt. So he might try and release here.
Yeah.
So it's playing this guy versus this guy.
Yeah.
So this is the part where we gotta ask, who has the better volume? Who has the better trend? Who has the better, technical analysis, price action, kind of thing going on here? Because we wouldn't know if this is gonna happen, or this is gonna happen, or this is gonna happen.
Yeah. And this is probably the moment we are considering choosing another pair if if another pair has got a better setup.
Does that make sense, everyone? Williams?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do a few more. Let's see, what do we have on this one? Okay. See, I'm generally trying to look for trends. Otherwise, it's very hard to read what's actually going on. Okay, yeah, this is fairly straightforward. All right, Williams, try reading this downtrend, overall volume view and detailed volume view.
Okay. So started from this, and now we have the high volume at the top, So it comes down. Then the next one is still at the top as well.
Yep.
So it still comes down. So the last swing, I believe, is at this area.
Yeah. So how's the overall view of this downtrend?
I think it still looks good.
Yeah, it still looks okay, but here the other thing is you also want to see the highest one so far from these three high is the one at the bottom.
Yeah.
Right? And then the one at the bottom, the highest volume, which is this bar, it didn't make a lower low after that. So leaning, a little bit more towards the downtrend may be under threat. Okay, so overall view, that's what you have. Detailed view, what would you say about the detailed view of this downtrend?
So, the detail is started from here.
Yep.
You still have a volume, but the next, since it couldn't make a lower low.
Yep, couldn't make lower, here couldn't make lower low. And volume is more or less in the middle.
In the middle.
It's in the middle again, but it's almost like it's the last bar. Right? So you think it's a bit healthy or a little bit unhealthy?
A little bit unhealthy.
Yeah. All right. So once you have, that's your overall view basically and your detail view. Once you have that, try and continue the read. And now trying imagining, we're looking at a broader picture here. Okay, so this push towards the downside. We were saying leaning a little bit towards not being so healthy, this downtrend. All right. Okay. Then where's the next highest volume?
Next is on this bar, right?
Yeah. It's more towards the middle one here.
Yeah, the middle one, right?
And then the top. Okay. So without looking at technical analysis, traps, releases, this is telling us, here, this bar. This is telling us perhaps anyone who's trying to sell down here so low, they could be trapped. Just based on the volume. That the entire trend could try and turn around. Yeah, that's how you look at the overall view. You can look at it in a lot of different ways, but the idea is pretty much the same. So if you track forward again, here, again, high volume right around here.
Could that turn to like a range, or since both of them are like in the middle?
What do you say about the range?
I mean, could the whole thing turn to like a range since both of them are probably in the middle?
Yeah, it could become a range. But here's the thing. Okay, now this is where things get a little bit more. This is the last guy, right? He got killed, right? It could either react at the C price, right, based on where it is, or where it last attempted. We talked about this yesterday, right? So if this is the last attempt area, now try and imagine this on your 5, or maybe just the 60. This swing that came down, highest volume is not so much at the top, not so much at the bottom, more towards, not so much in the middle, sorry, more towards the bottom, right here. So in the next few days, we're going to talk about this. We're piecing everything together. So overall volume of this downtrend, imagine this on the 5, this piece going down. It's towards the bottom. towards the bottom, and at the same time, the bottom is where price could release from. So this spot here is telling us there's a lot of transaction going on. Okay, as soon as someone gets wrong-footed, let's say someone's selling down there, who's selling down there doesn't really make much sense into areas like this. As soon as he got wrong-footed, then the buy will resume. That's our overall strategy, but again, I'm gonna get more into it later on. Yeah, does that make sense? Yeah. So you can only trust buys like this if you see if overall it's in an uptrend, and then you see this pullback coming down, and then high volume at the bottom, high volume at the bottom. You have a trap form on your 60-minute, sort of confirming a new trend could be coming in. And then when the pullback happens, even the pullback itself has highest volume at the bottom. Is anyone confused?
I have one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wouldn't there be a level above us because this high volume buyers tried, so now they got trapped?
Yeah, that's why in this particular example, you have a level here, right, for release. At the same time, there's going to be volume up there. So that's why this kind of price action happens. This piece here. Because both parties want it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Questions? Any other questions, Team B? You guys have any questions? No? It's pretty simple, right? Overall volume and detailed volume. We're just looking at where the volume is, and from there, trying to determine how healthy the trend is. All right. Now let's get into a little bit more, something a little bit more advanced. We call this volume transfer. All right, so this piece, we're gonna use it generally with the traps. All right. Okay, before that, 5-minute breaks. Come back in 5 minutes. Sounds good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Let's do a 5-minute break. All right. Everyone back?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Leon, Maya,
Ready.
Eric's back. All right. Williams is not back yet. All right. Now, I'm on mute, right? All right. So, volume transfer. Now, this is the most interesting part of the Unicom program, I think. Like I was constantly saying, volume is like a wall. All right. So, in this setup, using this idea that volume is a wall, Eon, when we're fading a pullback like that, right? And then we see not much higher volume here, not much higher volume here, and then super high volume on this buy bar here. Try to push up,
Yes.
and then resolve down. When it resolves down, it doesn't really have high volume, this piece. Is this healthy or not?
Not so healthy from my point of view.
All right. Why is that the case?
This is the guy who started it, the last guy who started it.
Yep.
Okay, with high volume, but it crashed. And also this guy who started it was taken.
Yep.
This one. Okay. And so the high volume was trapped here. Here. The high
Yep.
volume was trapped. And okay, it's good. And if we have a test here to this volume or to this level, we can get a good launch.
So it's good. This one.
It's good. Yes, it's good.
So it's good because
we also have the volume behind.
yeah. Volume behind us, right?
Yes.
Volume is up there. Volume is like a wall. It's behind us. Now the logic behind it is this high volume is indicating that there are actually buyers trying up there, right? So when we resolve down, even without taking out the guy who started, we already have people stuck and they are trying to release. This is our clue to know if someone's taking action at the area up there.
Okay.
All right. So same thing. Let's say we have the same setup. We have high volume here on the guy who started. No volume. No volume, no volume, no volume. And then high volume on the buy bar. Right? Just mediocre volume as it goes down. So in this case, Maya, when we pull back here, is it safe for us to do a sell or it's not looking too safe?
Not looking too safe
And the reason for that is,
because the volume is on the buy.
so the volume is here, right?
Yeah.
When this thing came down, he sort of taken this buyer out. So when he took the buyer out, the buyer got killed. Just based on the logic of guy who started.
Okay, then they trapped. It's fine. So they know our sell should work. It's good.
The sell should work. It's good, right? Because he's taken out. High volume buyers that tried got taken out. Hence, there's no more buyers laying around. All we need to do is just look for where technical analysis release area is for us to do a sell. Right?
Okay, so if the whole pieces of the exercise is actually to look at the end of the move, to look for high volumes where people were still buying, where they get trapped for us to get a reaction from.
Yes.
That actually, okay.
Yeah. That's right. Now, let's do the same thing. Well, okay, not using a new chart. Here, Williams, if I say that there is high volume here, well, there is high volume here. Let's continue with the argument that, okay, if I mark out this line like that, is it still safe to do the sell?
I would say we could expect some reaction from the trap buyers from here because of with the high volume. We could expect some reaction.
That this thing could do this?
Yes.
All right. So this is the part where we are sort of using volume transfer. So think of it this way. High volume. Let all those high volume resolve itself, right? The way that it resolves itself is to get through those areas. So once it gets through the entire area, think of it like the volume from him, volume from here, all belongs to the cell. Sort of like, you know, how we change territory once a guy who started is taken out. So this is sort of like how we give all the volume to one side once the other side is taken out. So in this case, the buy has the volume. When the buy got killed, his volume is all for him. So this line becomes sort of irrelevant. It might give you some type of reaction, but if we get through all of those areas, then it becomes irrelevant. So this thing still has the chance of, you know, making lower lows. Does that make sense, Williams?
Yeah, I just understand that. No.
All right. Okay, yeah, Ion, question?
What about the technical traders? Okay, maybe institutional do this, but what about the technical traders which consider that this could be an SNR here?
This could be an SNR, yes.
Yes, considered by the retail traders.
Yep, it could be an SNR, right? But this SNR is way stronger. It's way stronger because it has release, it has volume to push price down. Here it becomes irrelevant. It's just an SNR where it can bounce a little bit and then do stuff like that.
Okay.
So shouldn't we be worried with? Shouldn't we be worried because the way the seller comes down with no volume? But I know he breaks the last two guys, the buyers.
Yeah. That's why we are using volume transfer.
The volume transfer. Okay, now I see.
Yeah. So let's move on to this piece here. So Ion, to answer your question, we have a lot of SNRs laying around in the chart, on the charts, support resistance, all those kind of stuff. But the question is always which support resistance are going to hold price to make a run, or which support resistance is just going to hold a little bit and then just crash through. So the only way to have an understanding of which support resistance are going to hold is to make sure we know where price are trying to release and where are the traps. Here, there's no more trap here. You know, plus the fact that volume is all for the sell side.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to this one. J, if we have high volume here, this guy, no volume, no volume, no volume, no volume, all no volume. Is this a release for us to take? Is it safe?
I would say so. That last buyer that went up with volume, they would have confidence to hit at the SNR, couldn't do anything, and then sellers broke through the entire thing.
Yeah. So I really like how you use the logic here, because the high volume people are trying to buy still, they got killed. A release should happen here. Now you wouldn't be worried about this level, or you don't even need to draw out the level. Just circle this area here. Once he got taken out, all his volume belongs to him. Even though, right, even though this guy here does not have high volume. Yeah, so we use this volume for him once he killed him.
Yep.
Okay,
Interesting.
in this case, right, in this particular case, volume is still behind you because it belongs to the cells, belongs to this swing, this seller that killed him. Here, again, same thing, not just because we have volume up at the top, right around here, we also have the transfer going on, like this case. This one is the simplest one. No volume, all volume is above. When we take the sell, all volume is behind us. Behind. All right. Any questions so far, Team B? All right.
Just
Eric?
one.
Yep. Go ahead, Ross.
So just one for me. When it gets the volume gets transferred, whereabouts is it in that? Well, the second one from the left, you've got a thick line there. That volume where it's transferred, is it is more or less going across horizontally, and that's the mess. We don't worry about it. Whereabouts along that length of move with the bulk of the volume value, is that something we worry about or not?
Can you rephrase that? I don't really understand.
Right. So maybe I'll just quickly annotate.
Yeah.
Right here. So we got this volume here.
Yeah.
Does that, and we got a volume over here. Is it sort of the average of the that transfer in this zone? Is it something?
No, not really. We're not really gonna look at
We
where.
don't go to that sort of detail.
Yeah, I know. No.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. All you need to know is the sell side has volume. That's all. All we need to know is sell side has volume.
Yeah. Yeah, Lucas, I'm not quite sure if this is a valid question for this course, because I also understand a little bit more about a volume in Forex is what's so-called tick volume. Is this because of the nature of tick volume? Because I know tick volume, they are not really the real volume, they are just the change. Basically, it marks the high activities in that area. Therefore, we have this concept of volume transfer because before that last action, let's say this example, before that kill, we don't really know those high activities. They are really caused by the buyers or the sellers. And then when we have the last buyer killed, then we know for sure those high activities, they were caused by the sellers, and now seller win. Therefore, all those volume, we can say they belong to the sellers.
Something like that. Yeah, that's fine. If you want to put it that way, it's fine as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, just to point out why we are learning this is because of this particular scenario. There are a few scenarios why this comes into handy, but for this particular scenario, if we do not have volume here, not much volume here, let's say on this piece here, do not just let go of the chart, let go of the setup. All right, we have super high volume. That's why sometimes this comes into, importance. All right. Okay, any more questions?
Just to confirm, Lucas, the volume we're looking at, is that on a 60 minutes?
Let's just say, yeah, you can say it's fine. It's fine. For now, it's not really about 60 or 5, but let's just say if this is a 5 and we're fading a pullback, right? This is where it becomes important for us. Both on the 5 and 60, because on the 60, we are trying to identify a level, and on the 5, we are trying to identify where we are getting in. So sort of both. It's the understanding of the concept here. Yeah?
Yes, but I mean, we start off on a 60 to get our levels and look at the volume of the last move for trap buyers or sellers. And then if we see it's good, then we do the same thing on the 5 minutes to time our trade.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. All right. It's a good question. So let's piece this together with what we have learned so far. Say, oh yeah, another example is this one right here, where this thing comes into use. When we have a break towards the upside, like that. Maya, do we have a trap formed yet, just based on price action?
Yes, we do.
When does a trap form?
This was the last guy that started it.
Yep.
Oh no, he's not taken out. It's still ranging. Sorry, it's not taken out yet.
So no trap has formed yet, right?
No trap.
So sometimes we'll see stuff like this, where we are fading a pullback, right? And then we are trying to go for a buy. But based on what we have learned so far, if the safest area for us to do a buy is wait for him to be taken out. And that will be around price like this, right? And then that's where we gotta ask, are we still gonna buy here when we are almost at recent high, right? So this volume thing is important because sometimes when you see a range forming like that at the bottom of an uptrend where it's trying to transition, if we do see high volume here, this piece, it'll all just mean that someone's selling, someone's buying, someone's buying, someone's selling, someone's buying. At one point, they all got trapped based on this range and high volume. High volume is our wall. This could be attempted for a buy before he gets taken out. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah, okay. I wanted just to add, if I saw some of the other videos, just to add on to this, where it sort of fakes out at the bottom, where you can also do an entry at the bottom.
Entry at the bottom here?
Yeah, let me just show. So let's say this range happens and it comes down like this, it comes back, then normally Naveen gets in, yeah?
Yeah, sometimes he does do that.
Yeah, the probe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something we are gonna go into maybe tomorrow. It's fine. It's going off a tangent here because since you guys are asking about it. All right, if it's a range, breaks down automatically. We want to see a release because people who are buying, they were all trapped, right? So that piece everyone understands. So all this is seller's territory, guy who started. If we continue to go back up, taking out the last guy who started, do we have a trap and a release? Yeah, right? So it's just this. So Maya, what you're asking is, in the perfect ideal world, it would be setups like this for a range probe kind of trade.
Makes sense, yeah.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah. So same concept, all right? Just different. It is the same thing, basically.
Okay. So in this case, it's just because that sorry, I was let me get my notation. So in this case, we have this range, and then the release there is supposed to go to the lower low, but it failed. That's why we are saying, well, now he's got trapped when he's got taken out. That is his last attempt, the last seller, and now he's trapped. Therefore, we can use that trap to bounce.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
So you can only understand this if you look at this, look at this to understand he should have went. But whether or not he go, that's another thing. All you know is we are in a seller's territory from here when he killed.
Yeah.
All right. So say if we have the same kind of scenario, same kind of setup, breaks down. All right. This is the piece where everyone should anticipate a release. Now, in this case, your guy who started is not here in the middle. Our guy who started is all the way at the top. All right. So now, do we have a trap when we come back to this level? Is that a release? If the guy
no,
right?
No.
Now, in this case, if there's super high volume here, then that's fine.
Yeah.
Because now you have volume behind us.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like well, it's exactly like this one.
Yes.
So this kind of setup is generally it's only safe if this guy who started doesn't really have too much volume.
Okay.
Because again, we always want to have volume behind us, not ahead of us. Because volume is like a wall. Yeah. Does that make sense, Eon, Jay, or William?
Yeah. Yes, it makes sense for me. Thank you.
All right. One last example. Sorry. Let's say volume and then high volume. Got killed. This release is fine, right? Because let's say we have super high volume, super high. And then all of this is just low. It's fine, right? Now, this is where the overall view becomes important, because if, let's say, we're in a downtrend, all of this part, the volume here, is not higher, just mediocre, not really higher than this piece. What can we say about this overall view? Is it healthy or not so healthy?
No, not healthy.
Yeah. So that's where the overall view comes into how we want to use them. If we see a setup like that, which is good, sort of in a downtrend, we are seeing a refresh, a pullback coming in basically, and then trying to resume the sell. But if you look at the overall view is telling you, hey man, the downtrend has been going on for quite some time. I know there's high volume, along the way, but the highest volume is so far happening right now after multiple push towards the downside. Then this is very, very questionable. This sell here. Does that make sense for everyone?
So it will turn around because of too many legs on the overall flow.
What's the first sentence you said?
From the overall view,
Yeah.
we see many legs down.
Yeah.
And because of this, high volume on the bottom means turnaround.
It doesn't really mean turn around. It just means who is still selling so low down there. If they are trapped, then this thing might be a huge buy, because it might just be coming from an uptrend. So most of the time, we don't really want to take the risk to answer who's selling down there, or I am selling down there, that kind of thing. So try not to sell stuff like that.
So it's not for sale, that's all. Like Naveen say, if not A, doesn't mean it's B.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Going back to what we just talked about, I just thought of a question. So what if we have the same scenario and there's no volume throughout this whole piece? Would the sell still be valid?
No, I wouldn't, because there's no high transaction going on around this zone here. So I wouldn't know if the release is going to be strong. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, so if I switch it around a little bit, let's say, let me just clear the entire thing. If I switch it around like this, let's say we have this going on. What was the scenario we had just now? Let's say we have this push that came down, kill this guy, all right, and then super high volume here. All right, now everyone should understand that it's fine to still sell this, all right, if we have volume transfer, okay? It should release. Now, if it goes up, still no volume, still no volume, still no volume. First question, when this thing pulls back, is this a release? Or is it just an SNR level? Jay, what do you think?
This one's a little bit tricky.
Okay, to answer
supply
that,
goes up.
you want to know, is it a release first?
Yeah.
How do you get a release?
Well, these sellers came in, they try to react off their release, they failed, and then they got killed.
Yep.
So now it's a release for the buyers.
Yep. So it should be a release, right? It's not just an SNR. Now the second question, Williams, this whole piece from the bottom towards the top, there's no volume. Can I buy this?
Yeah, it's too bad. Because we have some trap sellers from here.
Yeah, you do have your technical analysis with a release, right?
Yeah.
But you don't have volume. Is that safe?
I believe they could still transfer the volume to this guy that breaks it. So when we watch the pullback, that will determine if we can buy it or not.
So his volume transfer, that's what you're saying?
Yeah, on this one.
Okay. Maya, what do you think?
I think we're now in the middle of the range. I won't trade.
All right. Eric, what do you think?
I think what, let me get my annotation. So we have the volume over there. What I would try to understand is, so basically we got high activity here, and eventually I don't know what this guy's doing there, or just being quiet. And then eventually the price resolved up. That means my buyer still intact. Whoever bought here, there's no selling. So basically they're still intact. So I would say it's still buyer's market. And now technical setup, we do have a trap. If those guys, they are really the sellers, I would say, yeah, it is a valid buy.
Okay, based on technical setup.
Yeah, based on technical. And the troubling part is really, I don't have any information about the last piece. We don't know what is going on here, but the only clue that I have is really at the beginning, we do have some high activity, someone bought there because that's the uptrend. And after they bought, I don't see any other activities. So there's a high chance those people, they're still holding on. And now the price back to the level, which is that SNR level. So he could, that guy, he could try again.
Okay, so you're assuming that guy is still alive, sort of.
Yeah.
All right. It's a good way to look at it. Eon, what do you think? Eon, let me. What you want to do here is try to read everything piece by piece. So try and go ahead on this one, Eon.
Okay. So the guy who started it was here.
Okay.
With high volume. Then he tried again here.
Yep.
Didn't make a higher high, and it was taken with this from here to here.
Okay.
It was taken with low volume.
Okay. So at this point, what should we be expecting?
A trap.
All right.
We expect here to be a trap from here to here.
All right. Okay, continue.
Okay. But we have a reaction from this trap, a small reaction.
All right.
Here. Okay. And then it was taken up and made a small higher high compared to this.
Let's say it's like high.
Yes.
Okay.
It makes a higher high, and okay, we can consider this a small trap, but not with high importance.
Because
the guy who started it was taken here, and a reaction was from this trap above here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when price make a higher high, it means it has some power. And when it returns, I don't know, this trap is with very small importance. So we do not expect a higher high, or maybe expect a range here. I don't know. It's
Okay.
tricky. So it could make a small higher high again.
All right. So here's how we want to try and read it. It's good that oh shit. Okay, it's back. It's good that I understand how you guys are looking at it. Here, high volume. Here, this piece everyone understands. Now, this piece, no volume, but it's fine. All right, based on technical analysis, but based on volume analysis, it's fine as well because volume been transferred. That's good. So at this point, you sort of have like a imaginary volume going on here. It's sort of like you just imagine that there's no volume, but because there's high volume transfer, okay, my cell has volume. Right? Just because they transferred. So it's a valid area for us to think about a release. Because there's high volume, making this release zone a strong area for price to push down, which is this here. All right, whether or not it goes, that's something else. But when it push all the way back up, based on what we see on the chart, there's no volume. But here, once again, we have volume from the sell side being transferred to the buy side. So it's pretty much, is this what Williams you were talking about? Yeah. So does this make sense for everyone? In this case, although just based on technical analysis, we do not see any high volume, but based on volume transfer from point A to point B and then point C, this buy here has high volume, not because he's still around, because this seller took his volume, and then the buyer after that regained control, taking back his volume around here, which makes this release zone strong. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah, makes sense.
Interesting.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so it's easy to look at this piece and ignore the fact that this thing could be a buy, could become a range, all that kind of stuff. But put volume in. Well, this is sort of like your imagination. Yeah, use volume transfer to understand if it's safe or not.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Some of you guys were saying it could range. This piece here is sort of like a refresh that Naveen talked about in the ITP. We're going to talk more about that next week. The range only sort of happens if we do not make higher highs after this push ends the range. Yep, Casey, go ahead.
Yeah, so if what I was looking at, that you said that was a refresh, that would mean that this went where the volume transferred, where you could see where it transferred for the second time, that would almost be like the first push. And if we were to trade this trap, that would be like the beginning, trying to trade this second push. Is that kind of correct? Does that make sense?
Yesterday, I think I said something incorrectly, saying that this could be the first push. In a refresh, typically, this would be, it's sort of like this would be the first sort of like bounce, and then this is the first leg, and then this is the second leg. Something like that.
Yeah, and that if we were to take that trade off of that bounce, that would be kind of like taking the start of this second leg.
Yeah. This is sort of like the cheese part.
Okay.
Yeah, where everything is confirmed.
Awesome.
So is this type of volume transfer more common during the dead hours because there's a lack of volume, or?
Yeah. We do have some time left. So generally what you're saying is correct. During dead hours, volume is low, right? So we use the market hours to identify that, what you just said. And also, if let's say we're looking at this piece, let me just redraw it. Again, I'm gonna come back to this tomorrow. Let's say we are up here, all right? And we're looking at this uptrend on the 5 minute, right? On the 5 minute, overall, it's just low volume. It's just low volume. Sometimes you will see Naveen trying to trade something like this before market open, when it's still low volume. But because when market open, what generally happens? Volume starts to increase, right? Volume starts to increase. If that's the case, if volume is sort of going to increase around here at a logical area, you can sort of preempt that this uptrend is sort of failing, that this piece will bring high volume. So that's how we use market hours, that kind of thing. We're going to get more into that next week. But Jay, what you're saying is low volume generally is when markets are dead, and sometimes you see Asia, they try and transfer everything from left to right. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Any questions, Team B?
Yeah, because I have one more. So I generally trade Oanda, and I know Naveen's talked about this different, the volume is a little bit different from the FXCM. Is that, I was kind of comparing it to your chart earlier that you had up, looking at Oanda, and the chart, it's not a lot different, but there is some differences, and that could sway my read with that. I mean, yeah, what was it? US CAD, yeah. The high volume peaks are a little different. There's some high volume spots at some different places.
Yeah, they do happen sometimes. Yeah, a little bit different, but those small differences shouldn't make you, how do I put this? If it's small, if the difference is very small, you shouldn't be too concerned about it, because what we're generally looking for is those high volume bars telling us what the story is trying to say.
Gotcha. Yeah, just when I execute, it's got to be an Oanda, but I could do the read off the FXC. I guess No,
it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine because I'm trading on a different broker. So sometimes the broker, the volume on the broker side is different also. So it doesn't really matter too much as long as the overall volume is, well, as long as, say, let's just say your idea is this downtrend is dying out. You have high volume here, and then you're trying to go for a release with this uptrend like that, something like that. As long as when you check your broker that this piece is still around, then it's fine. It's only a concern if it's like that. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah. Right. So, here to here, we have sells here, we have buys here. It's a very easy setup, right? Because when we get a kill, we do have a release. That's one thing based on technical analysis. The other thing is his volume all got transferred to the buy side. And on the buy side has volume as well. The only little concern here is we do have small high volume up there. Right, so this is how traps and volume comes together. Okay, let's do a few more of this kind of thing. Casey, all good on the broker question?
Yeah, thank you. That's perfect.
All right. Oh yeah, this one here. This was a setup that I briefly talked about yesterday. So in this case, same story, right? Looking at the overall view of this push towards the downside, highest volume is pretty much at the bottom, right around here, which could say that this uptrend, this downtrend could be in danger. That's one thing. But at the same time, technical analysis does tell us that we could see a release from here. All right, the other thing for the sell side, if I'm trying to argue for the sell side, is we do have volume here, this bar, that all got pushed down. Right, so this particular downtrend has volume a little bit at the top and at the bottom. All right, this is where things get a little bit more tricky, because now we have to consider that this is overall uptrend. It might just be a refresh, and again, refresh, we're going to talk about it next week, where it could continue to go up. So for us to take any action on this trade, let's see, high volume here, all of this, no volume, no volume, no volume, no volume here. You know, at this point, it's higher than usual, here and here. So all that high volume belongs to the breach towards the upside. Okay, which makes this area sort of like an SNR for us to preempt a kill of this guy who started. And for any of us who wants to stay a little bit more conservative, you know, wait for the main kill, technical analysis style, for him to be killed, which is here. Now we have a real release zone around this point. At the same time, right? At the same time, you have volume here. You have volume from here. Is this volume going to be a concern for us now? Yes, why, and no, why, Williams?
We're talking about can you repeat the question?
Talking about this volume here, right around here. If we want to continue the buys around zones like this, because the high volume is still around this kind of vicinity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to be concerned about this high volume here?
No, not really.
Or why that is?
Because since this guy already transferred to base, when it breaks it down, then this one already take over from there. So I believe they all transfer to this guy. Yeah,
that's right. So at this stage, all his volume, all the buys volume, who's buying up there, we don't know who's buying up there, but whatever the case is, they all got transferred for the sell, right? So he has all the volume, but in this case as well, he has volume being transferred, also high volume at the bottom, so it's not so healthy. So when we punch through, this is not so much relevant anymore. exactly like what you said. His volume got transferred to push down, so he should push down. But then it got resolved towards the upside.
So does it transfer when the sellers take up that particular bar or when the buyers actually try?
In this case here,
Yeah.
in this case, it got transferred when, we went all the way down like that. So even if we do not take him out because there's not so much volume down here, doing a sell from here might be possible because at this stage, volume is all behind you.
Right. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Now, I want you guys to try and do some practice on this. Trying to look for traps with volume and try to, comment on how the volume are being transferred and what the volume actually means on the price action point of view. Before that, Casey, your question from your post, I want to have a look at that.
Really, you answered most of it. It was kind of about cluster volume and where to mark it out. And that was one of the main questions I think that I really had. And we kind of talked about it because it was Aussie CAD, and we went through that one at the beginning of this. It was, let me get my annotate and see if I can. Yeah, it was kind of the volume cluster. I was noticing it was kind of like started at this candle, and then you had this candle and this candle on my on Awanda. It was like there's 3 candles down here.
All right, let me zoom in.
Yeah, so like it was kind of like this one was a little bit higher. So it was like this little candle cluster of like a 1, 2, and 3, and I plotted it. I just went by the highest candle and plotted it at the top, kind of how you did, but really you kind of covered it because it's just this area.
Yeah.
Right? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, that was really it. And then it as this broke above here, I think it was live markets was around here. I was wondering if, because of this volume was still kind of in this area, and then this high volume was in this area, if a buy would be risky off of this trap. And now I see that, it definitely would, because there's still volume right in front of us. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So at this stage, right around here, right, you would say that volume has been transferred. You would say volume has been transferred over.
Yeah.
In this case, it does look like it has resolved up. So even if there's no volume here, then it looks fine because his volume, it sort of all belongs to the main buy.
Okay, so this would be a logical area still at this point to think, okay, maybe if I get a struggling pullback, that would be good.
Yeah, at this stage, it would be fine. It's just after that, you see higher volume than usual around here.
Yeah, that's when, I think that was still when I was doing my PA, that high volume had just come in.
Yeah.
Which said, okay, that changes things, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then, if you want to think ahead, then you want to see, okay, I have high volume here. I'm not sure what's going on. Is this a zone where, is this a range where it could cause a release? I don't think it is. It's so small. Then just zoom out a little bit to see what actually is going on. Okay, here, this is the last attempt before he got killed. So this
I think in my PA, I noticed that could have been a release kind of area.
Yeah.
Because they could have attempted the buys here off of that over there. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how you use volume and technical analysis together. So here,
because it looked like this would be a valid spot to attempt for a buy because of just the technical analysis. We took out the guy who started, trapped all these last sellers.
yeah.
But the volumes can say different. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Here we are using technical analysis as well because it's also just using price action and release area. But at least, volume is giving you a heads up, telling you, hold on, there's super high volume here. Check and see, what's up going on the left around this zone here, which belongs to this guy.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know if this is anyone else, but for me, for some reason, reading the volumes, like the overalls, and then this last, the last little pieces, for some reason, I'm having a block on the volumes, but I'll rewatch this video and I'll clear it up.
Yeah, it's not try not to complicate things too much. Just do a few practice. We'll go over it again over the next few weeks. I'll check those practice as well when I have time.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure, no worries. Same thing here, right? Main guy, push up, no volume whatsoever. High volume, super high volume here. Who's buying there? The entire thing got killed. So at this stage, and I know market is way lower, at this stage, the first thing I would start to think about is a pullback to sell. Because I have volume, I have the main sell from this main trend. I have a trap and a release as well.
That's right.
All right. So some of you guys may be thinking ahead and say, if I sell this piece around here, what about all this high volume down here? Well, this is actually at the top. And what about all this high volume down there? So try and think about it. See if it makes sense. We'll go over it again, over and over again until everything makes sense for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah? All good?
Yeah. Lucas, I have a question on the British pound and USD, the example you showed just now.
Yeah? All right. Let me just...
British pound USD. Yeah. So this one now, because I also did this in my practice as well. So basically, we have that. Let me get my annotation. So we have that was the last seller we were talking about. We have this trap, right? And the price actually after that guy got killed, the price actually didn't come back to this level, and it just left. So would we consider this one is a release already, or we are sort of expecting this price come back to this zone and we will have the proper release?
Okay. Now, a few things here. The first thing is sometimes I'll get a little bit more detail and look at where those candles are. So in this case, see, this is like one cell that tried from the same area.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay.
So I'll
detail.
Yeah, I'll start and think, okay, so the zone could be anywhere from this attempt on this same seller,
right,
all the way towards the bottom.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So if for whatever reason you missed out on this detail about this release that it can come lower, then that's where the volume saves you. In this uptrend, volume is starting to pick up at the top.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we should not buy again because in my analysis I also noticed this as almost kind of like a probe from the range and then come back, and we've got huge volume at the top. So in that case, it's maybe that is area. So basically, it created another trap for the buyers. So that was my last buyer, and now he got killed. That's the trap. And so if the price somehow pull back to there, we may be able to get a sell. I don't know.
I don't know about the sell, but for sure it's not a buy because, like you said, the buyers are trapped.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you don't want to come in and buy after someone has been heavily trapped.
No. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Based on the story, this buy is late. This one right here. If there was volume to support that buy, would you take it? Take the chance?
Yeah, you can take this buy. This buy is pretty safe buy. Based on the volume.
Yeah.
Based on the volume here.
Yeah.
And a little bit here. Yeah, I'll talk more about this maybe when we look at more live example.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, no worries. But here, I think you guys were talking about if this is late or not. I think Casey and Jay have.
I had a question about that.
Yeah, it's considered late, but it's still a valid buy. So that's where you have to really see if you're the type of trader who really wants to come in to buy up there, knowing that on the theory point of view, it could still work, but just based on execution, it's so high up.
I know it would be late on the trading time frame, but because we're using the 60 as the big boy and we just need a level, that's why I thought it wasn't late.
Yeah, you could argue that way as well. Yeah,
right.
And then that's where things get tricky because there are a lot of things you want to consider. You have high volume here, high volume here, high volume here. If this is the end of the uptrend, could it be the end of the uptrend? I don't know. Obviously, it's easy for me to say now because I see this thing coming down, but we'll get into live examples next week. All right. Any other questions?
All good. Thank you, man.
All right. No worries. Cool. Do some practice around volume, just volume, anything volume related, overall volume, detailed volume, or even traps with volume. It's all fine. Do it at your own pace. We're going to do more tomorrow and next few days.
Right.
All right.
Sorry, Luke, just one from me. I was trying to find yesterday's recording and I couldn't see it.
It's not there?
I didn't see it. Did I miss it?
I think it was there. I was watching it last night.
I saw it.
All right. I missed it. Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I may have posted it a little bit later than usual.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll try and get it up as quick as I can. Cool.
All right. Yes,
all right.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you so much.
No problem. See you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.